because you do the work here, but screw it. It's my entitlement. It's time for Verbal Tap, the show that proves fighting way easier from outside the cage. Less easy when it's a sad note into the Instagram. We're back for Galvao's response to the slap. Raph, was that a response to the slap? Do I get? You've got tape. There's a lot to unpack. Where do we start here?
Well, first, it's a pleasure to be here, so thank you. Second,
Oh, sure.
I mean, I'm just going off of formalities here because, Kevin, I don't want you to have to put an apology video to not doing something because I feel like that would be improper. I feel like it might set the internet ablaze. People might sit there and wonder, is this going to be like our version of the decision where you just kind of milk something that really doesn't need to be said over an hour? And instead we got, I guess, the jiu-jitsu version, which we're still trying to figure out the nuts and bolts of. But here's
he owes
kind of
you an apology. He does
Oh,
owe
no.
you an apology because he could have called you and been like, "Can I come on Grappling Hour and do this?" And he would have looked 1,000% less like someone sad at the beach. He could have easily called you just for advice. He really could have called either of us, but you're right there.
Let me point this out real quick.
Grappling Hour. Can I ask you real quick? What do you
Yes.
think of this pose where I'm like staring into the phone sadly? And you were like, "Don't do that. Whatever you do, don't do that."
I want to address something right here. We have a note from Jocelyn Duke that said, "You missed mine." I assure you I did not. It's not making air because it's not good enough. Kev, the issues that we have here, though, are real and tangible, and none of us know how to make sense of anything that we just saw. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a little bit of the video so that you get a sense of what you might have missed. And guess what? It wasn't much. But Kevin, just before we get into the video footage, give us just kind of an all-encompassing idea of the main themes you took away from it. Like, if you were just not able to watch it because of work, because it's an improper time for those of us on Best Coast time, what would you have seen had you tuned in, Kevin?
Yeah, and it's awesome because it's a real fun trajectory. First, it's I don't know, as many minutes of Portuguese as one could think. You can actually see viewership really start to dip in those waning moments. He's sorry. He was talking smack or talk trash. That can be scary. He handled himself great, so doesn't understand what to do. Does know how to fight. Repeated it so many times, Raph, it has to be true. And he accidentally returned to Kansas the third time he said it. Fights are dangerous, which again, argue with that. He did get slapped. He admitted it once. And again, he's sorry to everyone, but he handled it great. And people want him to kill Gordon, but he's a professional. So you're welcome, and he's sorry, and you're not going to get an apology out of this guy.
You did a great job summarizing it because Kevin was watching it live, and this is what I got on my messenger. It was just a blurry of quotations, and I think you ran through it, but just so that you understand, if you're listening to it on mute and you see he's sorry, he was talking smack, that can be scary. He handled himself well. So essentially what Kevin is outlining here is not that far from the truth. Fortunately, while lesser programs will just talk in theory about it, and we've been there, don't worry, we actually screen grabbed the whole thing because we said, in the event something notable might be said, let's go ahead and present that for you. So Kev, we're going to go ahead and go to the footage. It's going to put us in a little box over on the side. Here's what you guys missed. So we're going to give them a few seconds to kind of let us know what we were missing here.
Você tá na rua, que ali é rua, né? Ali não tem regra, não ia ter regra. Eu pensei no meu legado, no meu trabalho, eu falei, cara, não vai valer a pena. Tanto é que na hora ali eu falei, cara, a polícia vai vir, né? Ele tipo, que aí a polícia.
Yeah, okay,
tal.
Kev, you have a note here. What is your note?
I just want to interrupt and ask if you'll, for the love of God, fast forward to the part of this that, I mean, I'm not going to say I understand the English version a ton better. I'm not going to get bold.
Sure.
But I do understand more nuance than I currently do. And if I know anything about some of the jiu-jitsu community when they're speaking Portuguese, I don't think we're ever going to find out what he said here.
You imagine my surprise, though, when I tuned in and I said, the phone's broken. Hold on, did I set it on Portuguese? Did my cat or dog make this happen? I don't know.
So you're watching live, right? How long did you think he was going to go?
I was really nervous because I thought it just might be hey, for those tuning in from Brazil or who understand Portuguese, allow me to speak to you for a few minutes, and then English. And then that didn't happen for 12 minutes. So unfortunately, you can't see the progress bar to my knowledge, but it's not until we get to about the midway point of the video that we do have here that we start to hear.
Jesus é o caminho, a verdade e a vida. Sem ele,
nope, just kidding. Still in Portuguese.
I have
the
to
first
tell
thing
you,
I was
of course, whoever was not helping him with this behind the scenes, because this was obviously a self-film job. I will cop to that. Does not look like any production. No one was even holding the camera for him, so we don't really know where he is. It appears sad. I'm curious how long he thinks he spoke for, because it's like, I don't know, 2-3 minutes. It's like, it's been a fresh 23, Dre. We need you to get to the point. Because had he come on a show like this or talk to a professional or someone other than the record button on Instagram and one of his younger students, we would have been like, well, you probably want to start in English. This is just my venturing guess based off of press circumstances. And you're going to want to start with, so I got slapped. Why didn't I kill him? Right? Now, let's roll tape if you can find it in English. I assume that's how he started it. Let's go.
Yeah, okay.
wrong. I flip on Gordon, you know. And then I went back through him, I towards him, and then I curse, you know, bad words and
Bad words.
And try to like talk to him, you know. I was trying to communicate something, you know. I wasn't ready for aggression or anything, but I say mean things.
Let's stop here for a moment. This does
What?
confirm what everybody was saying, though, Kevin. Maybe when going to approach someone, you should kind of expect violence as a return possibility. Like if you have a multiple choice, some violence, lots of violence, no violence, very low on the probability scale. So he's addressing that. Let's kind of hear about it a little bit more.
Violence is escalated, you know, like he slapped me, right? So I maintain myself calm, right? And I recognize that I made a mistake, and I knew that the consequences could come.
Okay. So I want to bring up two things here and then I'm going to let you go. The first is, why are there hearts at this point on the bottom of the screen? Because are you hearting the part that he got slapped or the fact that he did nothing? Because to me, I was like, please don't give me hearts on that part. I'm just telling you what happened.
The sad part for me, Raph, is I immediately clip back to like friends in bad relationships when it's like, you know, I think it's my fault they cheated on me. I mean, if we're just talking about who didn't put the toaster away last time, I have flaws. I'm human, and I think I led them astray. It sounded like that when he's like, first of all, I want to apologize. It was like, to your tribe for not defending itself. He's like, because violence is never the answer. I was like, no. Andre, I don't care exactly what you said to him. I'm going to need to hear the curse words you used to find out what escalated to he slapped you in the face. But this is sadder than I was expecting, Raph. This is genuinely, look, my face was in the way of his hand. He was just trying to bat away the bad words. He was just sending those back at me. And I leaned my cheek in like, do you? And boom, connected. And again, I apologize for hitting his hand with my face. It's me.
I thought the introspection that must have gone into this was at an all-time high. And much like you, I guess that brings us to point number 2, which is this gonna go somewhere? Let's listen to a little more of this while still in context
So I
of him
pushed him,
explaining.
he surprised me, and I truly made a mistake. It was a mistake.
Okay,
you know?
I do like the fact that he says, I push him, he surprised me. Because when most people hear the word, he surprised me, you think like a magician pulling a rabbit out of a hat and being like, surprise! Or a birthday party. This is
My
more
favorite
like...
flowers. It's not even my birthday.
This is just more like, oh, what's that behind my back? A slap, you... Anyway.
You
Be
in the
involved in all
face.
that for like even before months ago, you know, I was involved in all this situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why I didn't
This is where I got a little nervous because it started to buffer, and I go, no, this is the goods, right? This is where we want to hear the things.
I just know that I know how to fight. I fought professionally, my entire life.
See?
I know how to do it. I know what is a fight, but I know what is a fight on the street, and on the streets there's no rules, and I knew that I could pay for the consequences, and I just thought about my future. I thought about my future. I knew it. I knew that it could be like something really easy, let's say, soft, let's say, but could be something really nasty. So we never know what really could happen,
So let's differentiate here. Sometimes you get involved in the soft streets. Then sometimes you can also get involved in the hard streets. I think what he's trying to say is he doesn't know if the escalated violence might include maybe a weapon or two, or something could be there. These are things that I think he's kind of thinking in real time. The weird part is saying how he kept his composure. And I think most people would agree that, yes, he was surprised. We all agree with that. The composure is more of a retrospective thing where you think, was the composure when you walked up to him? Was the composure when you were yelling at him? So what I think he's trying to do is say here, let me put it to you in my understanding, which is, I did participate in Gordon's game of trash talk. And guess what, Kev? If you like trash talk and a discussion of its current state of affairs, it's vaguely in here.
The thing's really turning into like a violence action, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know when we respond the same way, things can be worse, and I just thought about my work, and everything. I just kept composed. I control myself. I was like, okay, now I know I can't do that again, back, because if I escalate the violence, something nasty can happen.
Okay, so I'm gonna go here, and I want to get your response.
I wanted him to turn into a cat and be like, I'm not a cat. I know how to fight. I promise.
I will say this pose right here in particular is prime for a filter to use because you're on the Instagram. So it really is an opportunity to go, yes, I know I might be wearing bunny ears. Don't let that distract you or make you feel bad for me. So when he's talking about the fact that, yes, he understands he got caught up in a game and that there are consequences, and he says, this could affect my line of work. The weird part is his line of work is self-defense. So it does get into a gray territory. He's not a painter who's basically showing up and being like, well, if I hit this guy, it's lights out for me. No more painting at the churches.
I was going to ask you, hey, what's his profession again halfway through this? Because he does skirt it, a coach. And Raph, I just want to say I didn't mispronounce or misunderstand when a fight was in our last podcast. I know how to podcast. I know how to talk to people. I've been doing it a long time. All right. I want to say it clear and again to the haters. I know how to podcast. You see how it starts to sound like maybe I'm nervous about knowing how to podcast? That's my take as we got through this. Didn't like that he started in Portuguese, went for like a solid
15.
A solid novice pros overtime. Like this was deep into I have 18 minutes of story. You're going to hear every Portuguese word. It's beautiful, beautiful language. Again, real succinctly, you got slapped and you didn't fight back. He does kind of address it. And the one part I left out, Raph, and this is where I'll end my commentary.
Yeah.
By saying, I podcast for God. So I don't really care what the haters say. I don't care what critics say. I don't care if I mispronounce words because I do it all for God. As a worker of God, I read the Bible. I'm pretty sure he said bad podcasting's in there, and I don't want to be one of those people. So,
I mean, to be fair, turn the other cheek is kind of a thing we grab out of the Jesus book. So I do understand that part. I thought there could be a fun game here because we're a little short on time. But Kevin contended there was no good in here. I contend that it's all bad. Now, they sound like two of the exact same things being kind of hodgepodged at once. I argue they're so bad that you can take any 20-second clip out of the remaining 8 minutes and understand nothing good can come of it. So, for that example, I'm going to go ahead and pick a random spot in the remaining 8 minutes and 34 seconds of this and see if Kevin can maybe try to figure out what the fuck that means. Kevin, I'm going to go ahead and press. I've pressed a part. I will let it play for 20 seconds, and then after it, go ahead and try and explain away. Here we go.
Escalating, and it's not good for life, and people can get hurt in the real world. People can get hurt in the real world. So I thought that was the way to promote a fight, and I fought my entire life. I know how to fight, right? I fight professionally and all that. But I also know there's a law, on the streets. Everything you do, there's a law, there's consequences.
Go.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed that he did this. He's recapping using very direct monologue Rocky 3, and it's good. He does a good Ice-T, late Ice Cube.
Yes, later day, Ice-T turns in from arduous forms.
Mr. T. He does a great Mr. T later in this. It's a touching part. He's got a good Rocky, surprisingly. It's not bad.
All right, going to another 20 seconds.
Activity of my life, and I want to just do the contrary, I want to keep
That's
on my
for
purpose.
Sure. Oh, now it's buffering again. This is when you get nervous because you say, this is what he's going to do. Is he going to challenge Gordon? What is he going to do, Kevin? And then it buffers back in.
I assumed this counts.
Things in life. I have a beautiful family, and it was
true. I'll give him that.
All with I was a little bit off the path, doing
There we go. What do you have to say from that?
No, this one's even more real because he was explaining he got caught in the actual game Jumanji and was talking about what was important to him and buffered because he was honestly still suffering some PTSD. You know what I mean?
Putting it back on. I've got 2 more clips just in the random 20. Go.
I'll give you one more.
Okay, that's fair.
And I'm kind of seeing more right now. I can see this more. So without God, I'm nothing, Okay. I'm nothing. So jiu-jitsu is an art of self-control. And I use jiu-jitsu right there. I use the martial arts. When the violence escalated, I was just like, whoa, I got to control myself. But also I know the word of God. I know there's consequences for every single sin that you have, that you do it. I was just very calm in that moment, and I thank God for giving me the tranquility right there.
This is right before he mentions, and for just $6.99 more a month, you can study at the Church of Andre Galvao.com, half off all of his most recent sermons, which is impressive. The sermons are on self-defense, calm and violence, and avoiding the slap. Ironic, we know, but we named it before this little thing came out. And remember, if you really want to get to the next level, $12.99 a month for the instructor course. You are going to find yourself in a whole new level of media. Did I get it?
You did, and I'm trying to find the exact moment in there because I thought of all things to expect, a plug to the website to promote self-defense was the worst way possible to end this non-apology apology. So anyway, Kevin, I thank you for this. I want to do one last thing before we get you on out of here, which is just, what's the takeaway from this, Kev? You've done so much reclamation, language, and rhetoric. You've done so much PR advertising in your time. How does Andre Galvao fix this, and where do we go from here?
He has to challenge Don Danaher to a fight. A no holds barred, rules don't matter, the Bible doesn't apply, so I'm maybe thinking he has it somewhere in Eastern Europe or Russia. He needs to get his house back. You have got to put your flag, set fire to their neighboring villages, and earn your keep. This sad video stuff is making it look like he's about to release a journal series. So the takeaway is, for me currently, I hope he's training like a quiet serial killer for whatever this ADCC match is coming, but I do not feel like this is going to be the PR bump he was probably hoping for. It's not good if you start an Instagram live, you start explaining what happened, and then you lose almost 4,000 viewers during the duration of your 37-minute lecture, which I would never do even in a classroom if it was about lecturing beyond your wildest imagination of time. 37 minutes, Ralph? Who does he think he is? You doing fight commentary? This is something he needed help. He needed you to professionally talk him through this. So PR-wise, bad day for Atos. I think 10th Planet's the big winner. I think they're going to be able to, as a family and tribe, conquer Southern California, firmly plant their flag across it, and, move in.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is a big win for Gordon, and we don't like saying those words because he would have said it himself.
Huge win. Well, let me ask you before I leave. When do you think he hits back? When do we?
He hasn't done
I'm sorry. When
anything
do we think
yet.
he responds? I don't want to use hits back as language. When do you think he claps back?
We're beyond that, Kevin. We've moved beyond it. Andre Galvao has forgiven Gordon, maybe himself, the world. It's hard to say. I would tell you this, and this is from Big Ben, who says he fights Gordon, no other options. Unfortunately, that was not something that was outlined here, and I don't know if that was on purpose or not. There are still a number of people who believe that this was a whole work or some kind of thing that they were doing to promote an interest in ADCC 2021. Close. That's almost it. I mean, that would turn him into a jobber. I would tell you this, Kev. If it is, it's the worst trade deal of all trade deals in anything that we've ever seen, if that was the losing card for one Andre Galvao. If you're him, I would suggest you take the match, see if you can shut him up, retire either way, because I got news for you. Even though you probably may get a little bit of a pass of Gordon because you said the clip that he's going to like, which is, I forgive you, you're going to run into Gordon still getting the comments because he doesn't care anything other than getting that match. So I guess that's what we're all going to wait and see. So it might have, served its accomplishments out that way. Kev, I think we're done here. Catch us on the next episode of Verbal Tap. We'll have Kai Kamaka return, and then catch me tomorrow. We're going to have some more fight companionry. Kev, you have a great rest of your night. The rest of you guys, we love you.
Bye.